have had a bit of fun clowning on leftist creators recently. But, it can't be all the leftist creators. I'm not here. I'm here to clown on people, buddy. I'm here to make fun of people. I'm here to make fun of cringe. That is what I do. And one of the most cringe things on the internet, one of the most over-the-top cringe things on the internet, is Ben Shapiro and his crew whenever they decide that they want to make a review. Like, at least with the Batman, and then I think Matt Walsh did Sonic. Super cringe. Absolutely cringe. But we are getting Ben's rebuttal to Matt Walsh's most overrated film. So basically, this is a spurgoff. This is an absolute spurgoff, and I am so excited to see what these idiots have to say.
Cut a video in which he talked about his 5 most overrated films. I want to go through that because there's a lot I agree with Matt about, but his film takes are some hot takes.
Today we're going to run down a list.
Dude, be careful, bro. I see in chat making fun of me. Bro, I am cringe. I am cringe. Absolutely. My sister's in chat calling me cringe. I saw somebody call me cringe, and I just assumed it was a Hassan fan. They do not like me. Neither do the Destiny fans. They do not like me at all. But here we go. Back into Matt Walsh with his stupid glasses and beard.
List of the 5 most overrated films of all time. Now, this is the definitive list. There can be no argument, no discussion. We should turn off comments on YouTube because this list is so verifiably correct that there's really nothing to talk about. Now, one thing to remember as we proceed is this: overrated does not mean bad. So I'm not saying that the films on this list...
That is valid. I see that as a criticism all the time. People are like, you know what, you didn't like the game? And I said, no, I just said it was overrated. This is something I think I said in the past. Halo Reach is the most overrated Halo game because everybody just like gets down and just all over the knob of Halo Reach. They would let every character from Reach teabag their face into oblivion. And the fact that I say that it's just okay and it's a little overrated, people are like, why do you hate Halo Reach? Don't hate it. Just think it's a little overrated. I think that is a valid thing, and I think a lot of people hear overrated and just assume that you're angry at it.
Are bad. Some of them are, but not all of them. Overrated just means that they aren't as good as people make them out to be. Their reputation is greater than the actual product on the screen. So,
okay, stop it there for a second. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we have the standard correct. Okay, I'm not mischaracterizing his standard. His standard is not the film is bad. It's that people think that the film is like a 10 and the film is like a 4. Right? That, like, my list of most overrated films includes things like American Beauty. Best Picture, 0.
Number 5, Shawshank Redemption. Now, this is not a...
What are we even talking about? How is this overrated? Come on, dude. This is the one... Okay, there's one thing I want to say about Shawshank Redemption because this is just astronomically a bad thing to put on it. I understand that he doesn't mean the movie's bad, but... it is not overrated. I am sorry, dude. This is the one example of a time where I read the book and the movie was better than the book. This is the one example.
Bad film. It is, in fact, it's a pretty good film, but it has gained the reputation of a cinematic masterpiece, mostly because millennials grew up watching the movie on TNT, where it aired approximately 46 times a week. And Shawshank it's a fine story. It's a well-told story, but it's also incredibly cliched, overwrought, quite cheesy, extremely predictable. Every character is a walking archetype. Every story beat can be seen from a mile away. The movie doesn't do anything new or different with the prison drama format except sanitize it. So Shawshank is to prison movies what Remember the Titans is to football movies. They're both massively overrated.
Whoa. Okay. I think the character work that is done in Shawshank Redemption is absolutely brilliant. I don't understand what... In characterizations of prison movies, I would need you to say which prison movies did it better. Instead of just saying, like, in regards to prison movies, say an example of a prison movie that does better. Like, if you really like Victory or Fist or whatever that Stallone movie was, and you're like, that's the best, then tell me why you think it's the best. And say, like, these movies are better examples of said thing. Like, with my Halo video, I'm pretty sure I talk about how the other Halo videos, or Halo games, did better in terms of other things. I give perspective on where perspective is due. All you're saying is just, other prison movies did it better. How, though? How? And the idea of him accounting and creating an entire person and then escaping and becoming that person, that's a pretty genius concept to me. And it also plays on the idea of when you get out of prison, which this is the first and only movie I'd ever seen up until this point where I had seen somebody have to deal with life out of prison, and how if you spend most of your life in jail, you then hit regular society and you're like, what in the figgly dork? I don't know what to do with my life. Should I just sit in a room and just jerk off all the time, or what are we doing? Like, I'm not even gonna address how he said Remember the Titans is overrated. That movie's a fucking masterpiece. It's one of the best movies to deal with. There's a lot of movies that deal with race and stuff like that, but I thought that, in my opinion, out of all the movies that deal with race, that one does the best in terms of sports movies.
Not even the best versions of their particular subgenre, much less are they in the conversation for the greatest movies of all time. My biggest problem, though, with Shawshank is that the inmates are all the nicest, most decent human beings you could ever meet, minus the two who are...
Yeah, dude, I mean, there was definitely a big scene where people got busted in the butthole, and then he ended up biting off a dude's wonder stick. So there was some other stuff after that incident. They started leaving him alone. So the bad prisoners started leaving him alone.
Rapists.
Okay, we can stop there. Okay, so he's right about the plot. Obviously, the plot is basically uber religious but corrupt warden versus a bunch of really sweet and nice inmates who may or may not be rapists in the outside world, but inside they're really actually quite good people. He's right about that. That's a good critique. As a film, it is a very, very effective film. And when he says that there are better versions of this in the genre...
Yeah, where are the better versions? What's the better version? What are we talking about? Felon? Felon's a fun movie, but it's not like a great movie. Like, tell me, I don't know of a better prison movie than Shawshank Redemption. I mean, I can understand the plot being simple or whatever, or the weird comparison about the over-religious bullshit. I mean, what do we got? The Green Mile? The Green Mile is a better film. I would say The Green Mile is a better film than the Shawshank Redemption. But what are we talking about here?
In, like, the prison genre? Are we talking here? What are, like, the best films in the prison genre?
Hi there.
Yeah, okay. It goes like this. It goes Austin Powers 3, Green Mile, and then the Shawshank Redemption. We'll go there.
I'll say this is better than Cool Hand Luke. Again, he's making an audacious...
I like Cool Hand Luke, but Cool Hand Luke has a part of it that gets really boring, and I love Cool Hand Luke, but there's a middle section there that's just kind of lame.
If he just wants to say Shawshank is overrated, I'm with him. If he wants to say it's one of the most overrated films of all time, I don't know, man.
Number 4, Toy Story.
No! This isn't Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's got some good takes in this one. This is him critiquing Matt Walsh's most overrated films of all time. The first one was Shawshank Redemption. So, and there is no way you're going to get me to believe that Matt Walsh just didn't think of like the most beloved films of all time and decided to hate them or decided to call them overrated just to get clicks. He knew what he was doing here. But Toy Story is the most overrated movie, one of the most overrated movies of all time. Get out of here, dog. What are you talking about, Matt Walsh? You just don't enjoy fun. You're just an angry man. What are your movies like? Oh, What is a Woman? And then yeah, Shawshank is a great film. But on Toy Story, he's like, oh, dude, my movie, Am I Racist, is so much better than this. I'm the right-wing Borat. But you don't like toy...
This is insane.
A good film for what it is. It's one of the best kids' movies in the last 3 decades. It's just not good enough to warrant 3 sequels with a 4th on the way.
The sequels are better than the original.
My main problem with Toy Story is...
Valid. That's a valid criticism. See, the thing about Toy Story is the first one sets the bar, and then they start, like, building up. Like, Toy Story 3 is... Wasn't Toy Story 3... Up is really good. Up is a really good movie. Up is such a funny movie because like the first 15 minutes just destroys you internally. A movie that I think is overrated is WALL-E. I don't like WALL-E. I just watched The Wild Robot, and I think The Wild Robot does everything that WALL-E did, but 10 times better and 10 times more effective. WALL-E's stupid fat people in space segment, it was the most insufferable, nonsensical BS I've ever seen. Toy Story 3 is the one with Michael Keaton. I think it's the one with Michael Keaton. Cast. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be the one with Michael Keaton. Yep, Michael Keaton. That's my favorite one. The Michael Keaton one's my... Well, I don't know. Toy Story 2 is really good. I love Toy Story 2 as well. Toy Story 2 and 3 are really, really good. Toy Story 4, I didn't like. Toy Story 4, I thought was... Toy Story 4 was my least favorite of all of them. I thought it was the most mid of all of them. I didn't enjoy it that much. I thought it was good. It's good, but it's not great. I think if I had to rank the Toy Story films, I think, and this is up for change at any point of any time in the universe. Toy Story 3 I think is my favorite. Toy Story 2 is my next one. Toy Story 1, Toy Story 4. I think there's Toy Story 5 coming out, but I don't know. The last one, I didn't like the last one that much. I thought it was kind of mid. I don't even remember most of Toy Story 4, to be honest with you. I remember there was a stupid spoon with fucking, what are those twisty, fuzzy wires called? I can't remember. They're like, flannel trouser bullshits. What the fuck, dude? They're, I don't know, twisty, cummy guzzlers.
Villain. Sid, who's the supposedly evil child living next door in the first Toy Story film. But what is Sid's great crime? Like, what did he do wrong?
Dude, being a fucking psychopath. That's his crime. He's a psychopath.
He takes apart his toys and reassembles them. This makes him a bad person? Like, he didn't know the toys were alive. So how could you blame him for that? He thought...
Yeah, but who the fuck is taking their toys and strapping them to bombs and flying them in the atmosphere? Dudes, here's the thing. Sid was 2 seconds away from dismantling squirrels in the backyard to see how their heartbeat works, and then eventually doing it to people. He was like he was the means to become a serial killer.
They were inanimate objects. How can we blame him for his treatment of inanimate objects? Like, if it turns out that my chair is actually alive, am I suddenly a scumbag?
Dude, I'm sorry, if my kid starts, like, ripping heads off and gluing it other shit, and then, like, I'm sure Sid, when he got into his, like, teens, was shoving them up his ass and stuff and being, like, real creepy about it. Come on, dude. He was just a prick, dude. Toys or not. Exactly. Sid was just a prick.
Sitting on it all these years?
Okay, so first of all, it is the most predictable thing in the world that Matt finds sympathy with Sid.
And I'll tell you this. I believe him.
Yes, I do actually think that treating your children to care and respect for the things they have been given is a good moral principle. Now, it's kind of a weird moral principle, but I think it actually matters. Let's put it this way. If I bought my son a toy, and my son promptly took it out into the backyard and blew it up, I would be a little mad. Also, Sid...
Valid, dude. If my daughter did that, I'd be like, I'm not buying you anything else for a while. You can just suck it. Where'd you get the explosions to begin with? I'm sorry. This is not how I raised you. Why are you a fucking psychopath?
Like, destroys these toys in the most perverse ways. This isn't like a creative genius over here. He isn't repurposing an old phone to turn it into, like, E.T.'s machine that phones home.
Meanwhile, Andy...
Like, here's the thing I did. I have this action figure somewhere. I don't know where it is. But basically, it used to be Jigsaw from Punisher, right? And his head broke off. It broke off through me moving and stuff. His head just broke off. It happens. Toys get old. But I had a secondary head from a Blade action figure. And I love Blade. Blade's one of my favorite things. And I decided that I could take and have a second Blade action figure, so I glued Blade's secondary head on top of the Punisher, or the Jigsaw one. So now it looks like a beat-up Punisher Blade. Come on, tell me that's not cool. But that was like, that's repurposing. This motherfucker is just like turning him into horror objects so that he can eventually learn how to do it with cats.
Forms very unhealthy fixations on his toys. Never does anything interesting or creative with them.
What the fuck are you
talking about? There's nothing wrong with a child having a toy, but it's like, it's a bit overboard. Okay, you're a little bit too old to be this attached to your toys, Andy.
Wait, hold on. How old does he think Andy is in this movie? Andy, I think in the original movie is like 6. Yeah, that's a bad take. That's a truly terrible take.
It's fucking trash, dude. What are we talking? Oh my god. No! Here we go with overrated Dark Knight. Jesus, he just picked this list to piss everybody off, dude. I'm sorry, Matt Walsh, you are fucking worse than Ben Shapiro. I give Ben Shapiro a lot of hate, and I thought this was going to be a spur off, but so far, Ben Shapiro is being based and factual, and Matt Walsh is an absolute fun goblin.
Number 3, The Dark Knight. Now,
shut the fuck up.
Again, good film. It just isn't the masterpiece that people...
Dude, Ben Shapiro broke. Ben Shapiro's like, shut the fuck up, Matt Walsh, you stupid fuck. I'm gonna lower your contract, buddy.
To me, without Heath Ledger's great performance, this movie wouldn't be remembered for anything in particular.
Oh, you mean one of the key roles in the film is actually crucial to the film? Truly one of the stupidest arguments I have ever heard, Matt. Without the Academy Award-winning best villain in film history in the film, it's a different movie.
Yeah, no shit, dude. Here's the thing. I give Ben Shapiro a lot of faults for his take on Batman because I feel like he missed all of the build-up to what made the movie so special in my mind, which was Gotham as a focus point. And I think there is stuff you can criticize the Batman about, but he criticized a lot of the stuff that all of his criticisms, not all of them, about 70% of his criticisms were based on the context clues of the story and the world around and all this world development and atmosphere that he just closed his eyes and ignored because he hated the movie so much. This is worse than that. This is worse. This is a worse take than that. Like, oh, dude, without Christian Bale's performance as Batman, the Batman movie would have sucked. What the fuck are you talking about? It makes no sense. This is AIDS Dragon. There is a critique to be made about the Christopher Nolan trilogy. If you want to have an actual critique, and here it is. They are not great Batman movies. They are phenomenal films, peak movies. But the goal of those movies were never to be comic accurate Batman films. They were supposed to be what if Batman was in real life. And it was a brilliant idea in that regard. And I think they did a really good job of pulling some from the comics, but also more from the real world. The big falter in that is Gotham as a focus point was never a focus point. It was just what was Batman doing? What is his villains doing? The world is shit, right? And Gotham itself just kind of felt like New York because it was based in realism, which I think kind of loses some of the magic of Batman. That is a critique, but as films, as narratives in and of themselves, they are perfect. The casting, the acting, the stories that are told are incredible, but Gotham as a focus point was never a focus point because it wasn't really based off of the comic books, and that's one of the biggest losses of not basing it around the comic accurate Gotham and trying to make it more realistic New York.
I could do that with literally anything. You know, the New Testament without Jesus, not nearly as good.
Like, take Heath Ledger out of it. What does anyone remember about this movie? Who cares about this movie except for that? It's great by Batman movie standards, but it's not great as a piece of cinema.
I thought my jokes were bad.
For example, how does the Joker wire an entire hospital with enough explosives to demolish it in 15 seconds without anyone noticing? This is a working hospital. People are in it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. How did you wired the whole thing? It's not even just like one part of it explodes. The whole thing is taken down.
Wait, that's it. That's his critique. His critique is like the practicality of wiring a building to explode. I mean, yes, that's correct. Gotham City's a show. They have a literal insane asylum where they keep people, and every 5 minutes people break out of the insane asylum. Also, has he been to a hospital recently? They're not really all that well run. No. I remember when my wife was in residency.
Dude, I feel like at nighttime when you walk into a hospital at night, dude, there's just nobody there. They keep like bare bones staff. When my wife was going through having the baby, right, and we were there, dude. We show up, there's like one sleepy. There was one person there that was like helping us to get us to like, yeah, dude, my wife's having a baby. This bitch is about to explode. I'm sorry. And then this other chick is just fucking nodded out at her computer, just asleep, dude, just fucking lights out. I look over and I'm like, damn, bro, she's asleep. We go in through the doors that they buzz us in, right? And then it's like one person running this whole hallway, dude. It was just fucking Zombie Town, USA. Now, after the baby was born and it was like daytime, there was a lot more people there. But at night, bro, I'm telling you, if he had some of his goon operators sneaking around that hospital dressed as doctors and shit, and he got like the lightest amount of clearance, he could have rigged that whole motherfucker to blow.
Yeah, man. I mean, not that I would have committed a criminal act like the Joker, but I don't feel like it would have been that hard.
Now, the movie hopes that you won't notice that problem because you'll be distracted by, like, the moment in the hospital when Joker shows up in Two-Face's room wearing a surgical mask and isn't noticed by Two-Face until he takes the mask off. But even with the mask on, you can still tell that he has white face paint and black paint around his eyes. So how did Two-Face, the criminal genius, not notice that? Well, maybe it's because Two-Face isn't a criminal genius in this. He's a villain for about a half a scene. And then he's dead. It's like Christopher Nolan forgot to include Two-Face They're about to put
What
the movie
is
out.
the-
You know, it's
what?
like a week and the movie's gonna come out, and someone says, "Whoa, we forgot, we're gonna put Two-Face in this thing." Oh yeah, then they gotta go back and.
What are you talking about? That's the entire.
Dude, I love that Ben Shapiro is having my reaction to his Batman review. I love that he's having the exact reaction because I got a lot of like pushback when I put that video out on Ben Shapiro and his hate of Batman. But I love that he's having the exact same reaction as I did, just so upset. Just unreasonably upset about how stupid this take is. I love this. This is what I live for. And then, bro, this guy's just being a contrarian, pretty lame. No, absolutely, absolutely. And this is how I felt about Ben Shapiro, dude. This is, I love that he, so when I made the Ben Shapiro video, like I said, people got bad, but I was like poking fun, you know? And this is the same thing. I know they're friends, but come on, dude. It's a fucking bad take, dog.
Entire character arc of Two-Face.
Doesn't change anything in the movie at all.
No, what? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Stop it for a second. Just stop it. That's so. Oh my god. Oh my god. The entire plot point in the film is that Two-Face is supposed to be a representation of the fallen state of humanity, right? He goes from the hero to the villain. And the whole point.
I gotta pause it right here because all of the shit that he said shitting on the Batman, where I had these things about how Gotham is a correlation to the Batman and how they're both just, they don't understand, he doesn't understand his purpose in this absolutely atrocious world, and the world's building up to it, and it's like a representation, and the representation just flew right by Ben Shapiro. And then he's watching this and just so upset and making these like really deep connections that he refused to make for the Batman. I love the fact that this exists.
That all hopes for sort of cleanliness in Gotham City can be obliterated. And if you have too much of an idealistic view about what humanity is, which is what Harvey Dent has for most of the movie, then you end up falling, because once you fall, you really fall hard. This is a dumb take. I'm sorry. It's just it's a horrific take. It's a horrifically bad take. You know what, Matt? I can't even do this right now. I challenge you in person to a debate on The Dark Knight.
Let me ask you something. What if there was someone out there who...
Wow, look at the enthusiasm in the ad read. God, he's not even good at that. Let me show you how real ad read is done right now.
Jesus Christ, just roasting each other, dude. No enthusiasm.
It's more of this in a moment. First, you need to wake up feeling dialed in and ready for anything. Our friends.
If you want some, if you want of his shit, just go get his shit. It's Black Rifle Coffee. They make, so here's the thing I'll say about Black Rifle Coffee, just as a weird, like a tangent. If you want to go and get it from Ben Shapiro, go get whatever the code is. But I buy their little iced coffees from the gas station, and I love it. I love it.
Number two, Marvel movies, all of them. The whole Marvel movie canon, they are all overrated because they're all rated as being at least better than cinematic slop, which is what
I can't.
No, not all of them are bad. A lot of the recent ones, absolutely, but not all of them are bad. I think there's been a misconception about how people think that all the Marvel movies were like these quippy bullshits when they started out. There were quips, but it wasn't the priority in the movie. And it's like writers and shit took over and saw that people liked the little injections of humor that Marvel had and way overdid it. And all the way up through Endgame, I think it is a pretty solid, like, I don't know, solid series. It just builds into each other. And I don't think we've ever seen anything of that scale be done, and it is incredibly impressive. And I think almost every movie, except for the Thor movies, were pretty solid in their own right. Like, oh, Iron Man 3 fucking sucks. Fuck Iron Man 3. That movie's stupid. But for the most part, all of the movies really connect, and they're really, really good. I just think I'm so biased against Marvel, I don't even know what's good or good or not. Can't stand it. So here's the thing, dude. If you watch Iron Man 1 and 2, those are good movies. Captain America, all the Captain America movies are pretty good standalone. Oh god, they're more like a Tom Clancy film of the 2000s. I really like the fact that they had these Tom Clancy elements, and it's really cool in the Captain America movies. The weakest Captain America movie is the first one. The second one is so much better than the first one. It's like leagues above the first one. It's called I don't even fucking know what it's called, but it's good. Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, and 3, I really like those ones. All the Spider-Man movies I thought were pretty good. The MCU Spider-Man movies, I thought all of those were pretty good. Spider-Man 3 is my favorite. Or whatever it's called with all three Spider-Man. What else is the Hulk? The Hulk with Oh, I liked Venom. Venom is okay. Venom is okay. Iron Man 1 I really liked. Iron Man 2 I thought was fun too. Um, I didn't like the first Ant-Man is just a remake of Iron Man. It just followed the same thing, which it's good if you like Iron Man, but in Paul Rudd, but Ant-Man 2 was pretty good. I liked Ant-Man 2 better than Ant-Man 1. The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton was pretty good. I really like that one. Um, the ones I hate the most. Well, dude, why do you hate the new Spider-Man? Okay, so if you haven't seen Spider-Man 3, I can understand why you were kind of disappointed in the first two Spider-Man movies. But here's my thing. I liked that there was such a focus on the newer MCU Spider-Man movies on the villain. I think the biggest problem with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies was the lack of emphasis on creating a good villain. You look at the first two Sam Raimi movies, and the reason those movies are so iconic is because of the fact that they really heightened the villain and made them so prominent. Now, I don't think they did as good of a job with Spider-Man, like the first two Spider-Man films in the MCU, but I still think that Michael Keaton gave a pretty powerful performance. Not the best, but like not as good as obviously as Doc Ock in the Green Goblin, but yeah. But when it came to what's his name? God, I love him as an actor too, and I can't think of his name. Jake Gyllenhaal. I thought Jake Gyllenhaal's thing with Iron Man and it was really cool. And I also like the idea that they try to do something different with Spider-Man instead of just rehashing his backstory again and again. They were like, okay, this is because in Ultimate Spider-Man, he's kind of in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books, if I remember right, he was really attached to Iron Man, and they kind of had a father-son relationship, which I always really liked about the Ultimate Spider-Man thing. And then you got the Iron Spider, which I was so excited to see the Iron Spider in Endgame. And then when it came to the third Spider-Man movies, we got to see all of the villains throughout the Spider-Man universe, the best ones, come back and kick some ass and watch like the struggles that. So in the third one, it's the first time you get to see the MCU Spider-Man feel like he's put in a situation where he's finally struggling. It's not as safe. It's a more dangerous than the first two. The first two were pretty safe movies, but the third one really pushes it to a new degree, and it also is really good character work for the Sam Raimi and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
He has me there.
All bad. Like every single Marvel movie is bad. There's never been a good one, I hate to tell you.
The original Iron Man is really, really great. So the original Guardian of the Galaxy was a real breath of fresh air. Ant-Man is wildly underrated to me. Doctor Strange 2016, again, enjoyable. And Thor Ragnarok is just pure silly.
Dude, he's calling him out. He's calling him out, dude. He's calling him out so hard. I feel like a part of this was just to piss Ben Shapiro off, and I love that Ben Shapiro is in this position because I was literally in this position when watching his Batman review. This is so great, dude. I'm loving this.
Oops. Well, consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. However, I was asked in that video to rate which are the best Marvel movies, not Marvel movies versus all other movies.
Number one, the most overrated film of all time is Star Wars. Oh. It's fun.
Dude, this is the most wild I've ever seen Ben Shapiro, and I love this. This is so great. Now, I will say I like Star Wars 1, and I like the original trilogy. I think they're all very good. As sci-fi movies, I think they should be up toward the top of sci-fi genre, but I do think there are better films. I think there are better films in the sci-fi genre. I think that a lot of people will put it up there as one of the best or the best sci-fi film ever made, when I think that there are better there. Like, take for example Pitch Black. I think Pitch Black is one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. Now, I know that it's more horror, but I think that in the realm of sci-fi, a lot of times they will separate the horror films out from the kind of sci-fi journey romp type things. In terms of the crew and everything, I mean, there's just so much that Star Wars did right. I mean, the camaraderie, the dialogue, it was all really fun. It's a very fun movie. I don't understand how anybody could like hate it.
It's decent. It's not deserving of the worshipful praise.
Yeah, for the time and even today, the first 3 Star Wars movies were excellent. The sets and how they were filmed is incredibly impressive. I know, it is. I mean, you look at the movie that was more, the only sci-fi movie I can think of that time that was, like, more impressive was 2001: A Space Odyssey. And to be honest, that movie's boring as fuck. That movie is so fucking boring. It's a good film, don't get me wrong. Don't think that I'm out here shitting on 2001: A Space Odyssey. But goddamn, there's some points in that movie where you just don't give a fuck. I mean, when Hal starts going off the rails and it's like, I can see your penis, Danny. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Danny. Suck dick this way, Danny. And it's cool, but it like takes so long to get there. I mean, I swear you watch Burt Reynolds run around that spaceship for like 14 hours. Coming from someone who dislikes Star Wars, I have so much respect for them. Yeah, dude, and I have respect for them too. I think the first 3 films are incredibly amazing. And I remember watching those and loving them, and then I watched the prequels, and I liked the first one and the third one. I don't like Clone Wars. I don't love those other 2 movies, but I think that they have qualities that are enjoyable. And then the first reboot with Rey was okay, and I liked it I did like it, but I wanted more for it to go in a direction that also Finn was secretly a Jedi as well. I think that would have made for a more interesting premise, because Rey was never likable as a character. She had no personality, and that was such an issue for me, because I just found her somebody I couldn't get attached to, but I found Finn as somebody I could get attached to. And then in the second movie where they put Finn kind of on the sidelines, and then her story I didn't give a fuck about, and then for some reason, dude, Luke is just okay with killing children. Like, what the fuck? Well, how are you the good guy? How are you ever the good guy if you're just okay with murdering children? Go fuck yourself.
It receives, and it certainly does not warrant the 10.
It saved Hollywood. Literally saved the entire industry. Fox Century was about to go bankrupt, and they put out Star Wars. The theaters were dead. Dead. No one was going to the theater. Star Wars saved the entire movie industry. Okay, by the way, he's talking the entire Star Wars series, right? He's not just talking about like the original Episode 4 Star Wars, which is in fact a great movie. He's talking about like including Empire. Empire Strikes Back is one of the 5 best movies ever made. What in the actual
The original Star Wars movies were solid B movies.
No! Well, shut up, bro. No, they were not solid B. I'm yelling into the mic, dude. I need to get the mic away from me so I can actually yell. I'm gonna turn down my range. What the fuck are you talking about, B movies? Have you seen a B movie from the 60s? They didn't look like this, you fucking idiot. Jesus Christ. What type of fucking moron are you, Matt Walsh? I'm not even the biggest Star Wars fan, but this is the most moronic fucking take of my entire life. You are an absolute idiot. What a fucking moron. B movies? He's trying so hard, dude, to be fucking, he's trying so hard to just fight back, dude, and be contrarian, dude. He's trying to be contrarian so fucking hard that it hurts, dude. This isn't even real. This is fucking make-believe land.
Acting's pretty poor, especially by Mark Hamill. Really, really bad acting. The script is kind of cheesy and derivative in parts. And I say derivative not because, oh, you know, everything after
Next they'll say Life is Strange isn't cringe. I haven't seen Life is Strange.
Star Wars is ripping it off, so I'm just used to it. You know, even Star Wars when it came out was derivative of sci-fi that had come before it. It actually was not doing anything all that new.
What is he talking about?
Dude, what didn't Star Wars do? What are you... There's nothing fucking logical about this. There's not a single thing that is, like, in the realm of reality here. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's not even remotely true. I mean, first of all, the special effects unprecedented for the time. Like, blew everybody out of the theater.
That was such a good edit.
It's the most transformative movie in terms of effect since The Wizard of Oz went into color. As far as the acting, I'm not a huge fan, but that's also the character. The whole point of the original Episode 4 Star Wars is that Mark Hamill's character, Luke Skywalker, is a whiny teenager.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
I said, shut up, you bucket of bolts.
And he has to learn that he actually is important when he does his duty. Alec Guinness is awesome. Harrison Ford in these films is iconic. Darth Vader is probably the single greatest movie villain in history, particularly in Empire. Palpatine is another amazing movie villain. Yoda's an amazing character. Like, what is he? What is he talking about?
And but that's fine. Darth Vader is a 12-year-old boy's idea of a scary villain. Like,
Dude, shut the fuck up, dude. Darth Vader is intimidating, period, bro. Period. I'm sorry, if somebody can just force choke you to death, that's scary. What the fuck are you talking about, dog?
he's not actually menacing, and he doesn't create real tension. Like, if I'm in a room and Darth Vader walks in, I'm not gonna be that scared. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not that scared.
Okay, can you pause it for a second? He would literally strangle Matt within the first second of meeting him.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm not that scared. You got the, again with the cape. The first thing I'm thinking is like, why are you wearing it?
Darth Vader walks in and force chokes him in the first 5 seconds of the film, as he does to the first rebel he sees when he walks into frame.
A bunch of 12-year-old boys watched those movies when they came out in the 70s and 80s and loved them, which is understandable. But then they grew up and they insisted that the movies are still as great as they remember them being when they were 12. And that's the problem. Nothing is as good as you thought it was when you were 12, okay? You were 12.
But here's the problem, dude. Here's the problem with all of this is it's just like, what do you want everything to be? Just a boring fucking drama masterpiece? If you work everything into a very slow burn dramatic masterpiece, those are boring. Like, sometimes people just want to watch a movie and have fun. This is the problem I see with people who, like, the Oscars and everything, where they bar horror movies. And, like, some of the best performances you'll ever see are sometimes in horror movies. You then bar, like, action movies where they're not considered great. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about, dude? What the fuck, dude? It's like, so you just don't enjoy fun, Matt Walsh? You boring fuck?
Stop that for a second. First of all, how do I know that those movies are still great? Because my 10 and 8-year-old still love them. Like, that's a weird take. That's like saying any children's movie that you watched and enjoyed when you were a child is no longer relevant because now you're an adult. So now you have to watch, like, The Whales of August or something all day.
Now, you all need to grow up and realize that.
The answer is never. Do you hear me? Never, ever.
One of the great scores of all time, by the way.
Dude, that is such a bad video. That is so bad. That is so bad. That should just be burned off of the internet. Jesus Christ. He picked every one of those to be contrarian. And he said some of them were bad. Which ones are actually bad, Matt Walsh? Because it seems like you just prefaced that by saying you weren't saying these movies were bad just so you could rag on them as much as you wanted. I feel like he didn't offer any sort of... He would always say of that time and without actually bringing any examples. So he was just kind of fucking saying shit to cover his ass so that somebody else could come up with some form of a fucking excuse for him when he was just being a douchebag.
Honest to God. Like, okay, so he... What in the what? What? Just what? Okay, so terrible takes all the way around there, with the possible exception of the Marvel movies there from Matt. Oh, Matt. Oh, Matt. Well, I guess we'll have to do this in person. That Dark Knight take. Ooh. You know what, Matt? I can't even do this right now. I challenge you in person to a debate.
Yeah, dude, that was so bad, dude. That was fucking atrocious. That is one of the most obnoxious reviews I've ever seen. That was so bad, dude. Here I was saying that Ben Shapiro was the worst movie reviewer on the internet. I gave him so much shit, and Ben Shapiro was beating him with facts and logic in that video. I'm sorry, dude. His wife's pussy might not get wet, but he was making me wet over here with the good takes. But come on, dude. Matt Walsh, delete your channel. That's how bad of a review it is. On a scale of 1 to Ben Shapiro's Batman review, you're at Ben Shapiro's Batman review. I was expecting to see, like, some stupidity back and forth, but there was no stupidity back and forth. It was all just the most retarded shit ever. And to say that every single Marvel movie is bad, I think is stupid. I just think it's dumb. I think that there are good Marvel movies, and I think people want to jump on the bandwagon that they've always been bad, and I think that's just a bad take to have. I just do. I think that there was so many movies, and like, of course, when you have that many movies, there's some that are going to be okay. You're going to get kind of annoyed that a lot of people like them, but there is still some greatness in almost, like, at least, even if you want to say that half of them are bad, I would be like, okay, that's fine. But to say every single one was bad, that doesn't make any sense.